This terrifying moment was recorded by two electricians in Russia, and they were putting back a big box when this shocking incident happened. As you can see, they were fixing electrical substations that went terribly wrong. Second after the explosion occurred, they both started running outside for safety, and at this point they just couldn't do anything else. Flash over, then melt down off all control circuits in that cell, and then the next cell, and so on, causing even more flashovers and very quickly turning into a big old spicy fire. The man running away should have a non-conductive connection to the one getting lit up so he can be pulled away if this happens. He's lucky his hands didn't clamp down on something. The whole cabin just exploded, and thankfully they were the only ones there. This is the footage of the Beirut explosion. In the footage, the people seem to have run off after the initial small explosion, which was followed by a big explosion. My guess is that they saw something happening that implied things would get worse and ran to be somewhere safer, and just in time too. Considering how powerful that explosion was and far-reaching the blast zone was, with impacts occurring several seconds after the initial blast, I'd say a whole minute to get to cover is still pretty goddamn near. Also, they were on the roof, so it's not a matter of just going inside. They had a very short amount of time to get far enough down and into the building to avoid shockwave injury. These people were in significant danger throughout the entirety of the video. The Beirut explosion was somewhere in the range of 0.5 to 1.1 kilotons. The Hiroshima bomb was 15 kilotons, and by today's standards, that was a tiny nuke. Starting at 23 seconds, you can see the condensation from the shockwave looks like fog moving out in the distance before the wave hits the building with the camera. This is simply wild. If you are a parent, you've probably said this phrase a million times. Do not play with fire, but I think some kids will just never understand it, even in their adult life. Jokes besides, this entertainer was about to give a show, but he definitely didn't prepare for this. The second he started the show, the fire stick touched the flowers behind him, and after it, the fire just grew bigger and bigger. He only realized it many seconds after. Everyone was just standing there breathing in the smoke. How long does it take to decide to leave after you realize it wasn't planned? Like, I don't care if someone has the fire extinguisher or not. At least get your kids out of there. At least he came back thanking the audience for watching this unexpected show. In 2005, South African man Marius Els adopted a baby hippo after rescuing it from a river. In this clip, they can be seen playing together. But 6 years later, after rescuing Humphrey, the hippo dragged Marius into the river and ended his life. 2011, Els was photographed on his hippo's back. He said, "Humphrey's like a son to me, he's just like a human. There's a relationship between me and Humphrey, and that's what some people don't understand." Els obviously viewed his relationship with his hippo much differently than his family and friends. He believed Humphrey was like a pet dog, telling them that he responded to the sound of his voice and would always come back home after hearing his calls. With the increased aggression being displayed by Humphrey, Els finally relented. He promised to move him to a game park far away from the farm. It broke his heart, but he knew it was the best thing to do. His love for the hippo led to Els delaying Humphrey's rehoming. In November 2011, Els was attacked and then submerged in the river where Humphrey was rescued. The pet hippo had bitten him and dragged him to the water in front of his nephew and farm workers. Marius Els was only 40 years old when he met his demise. Sadly, Humphrey was euthanized after the event. To be honest, I don't know what to think about these human and animal relationships because even if they are used to humans, they're still wild animals. While fishing out of Elfin Cove, Alaska, these men got an unwanted surprise. If you wonder why he didn't just give the fish to the sea lion, well, those spear gun darts have large spines that stick out from the tip. They don't just pull out, and he has to cut the line to do as you want. Not so easy with a mad water dog in your face. Those things can drown you. Their bite is nasty and will give you a bad infection. This looks like a young and smallish sea lion. The bigger ones are incredibly dangerous. This terrifying moment was recorded during the recent floods in Spain, a woman saying goodbye to her partner while the water rises in the pharmacy where she is trapped in Valencia, Spain. Luckily, she was rescued before drowning.
No sé si alguna vez te llegará este audio, pero que sepas que eres la persona a la que más he amado en este mundo. Cuida por favor a mi niño. Por favor, cuida a mi niño. Y recuérdale siempre la mamá que ha tenido, por favor, aunque solo fuéramos 8 meses y 29 días. Y dile que es lo mejor de mi vida. Hasta el fin de mi existencia será. Esto es horrible, amor. Esto es muy malo. Me estoy ahogando y no puedo ya más. Te amo muchísimo. Y mi niño es lo mejor que vamos a en este.
Without electricity supply and with problems of drinking water, there are also the neighbors of Benetússer. The anguish that they lived in this municipality can be understood very well with the testimony of Sylvia, pharmacist in the town. With the pharmacy practically flooded, she sent a farewell message to her partner. "I don't know if this audio will ever get through, but just know that you are the person I have loved most in this world. Please look at my boy and remind him of the mom he has had, please. Even if it was only for 8 months and 21 days, and tell him he is the best thing in my life. I'm awful, love. It's so bad, I'm drowning and I can't go any further. And my baby is the best we'll ever do in this world, please. I love you, my brother, my parents, everyone. Tell him I love him, I really do. This is horrible, I love you." Thankfully, the husband wouldn't have to tell their child these words, and the woman could now do it herself. The incident happened just before 3:30 a.m. January 15th near England Street and Railroad Avenue. The Ashland Police Department says the driver of a vehicle that was hit by a train on Sunday faces several charges. The driver, who police identified on Friday as Lizeth Calderon Henriquez, exited the vehicle before a southbound train hit the vehicle. Apparently, the driver did this in order to fraud the insurance company, but I doubt insurance will pay for this one when it is this obvious. I would imagine they have a scope or binoculars of some sort for situations like this, but the risk of damage or derailment is still there. There are cameras, sensors, and tons of things along the tracks that notify the train yard who notifies them though. That way, trains can switch routes if there's a wreck on a crossing. Thankfully, the train had time to decelerate, so the impact wasn't too big, but what this woman did is just disturbing.